Welcome to the Total Boss Podcast, and I'm your host, Christiano Green, a podcast where we talk about finding fulfillment through self-development, being a leader of your own life, and getting the most out of it as well. Tenacity, originality, talent, authenticity, and being legendary. It's all about living your best life. Hello, all you total bosses out there, and welcome to another episode of the Total Boss Podcast. Now, I am your host, Christiano Green, and I'm a gay men's relationship coach, helping gay men find long-lasting and healthy love in their life. So this week on the podcast, I really wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about ghosting, but more about what are some of the healthy alternatives to ghosting, because when we look at the numbers, more than 60% of gay men, state that they've been ghosted by someone online, whether that's because, you've been chatting online and, you've been chatting for ages and then maybe you're going to plan to go on a date and then they ghost you. Or maybe you go on a date and then they ghost you. Maybe you go on a couple of dates and they ghost you. It's quite a common thing that happens, and oftentimes, maybe in some ways, we are also doing some of the ghosting. Now, I know from my experience in dating, I've been on both sides of it. I've ghosted people, I've been ghosted by people, and a lot of times people think that, it's the easy way out, it's the nice thing to do, I'm protecting someone else's feelings, right? But in reality, ghosting is probably one of the hardest things to move past, especially because you necessarily don't know the reasons why you've been ghosted. And oftentimes we start to internalize the feelings, internalize the problems, and start to make it out as if maybe we are the problem here, or there's something wrong with us. So really the hard thing about ghosting is that you never get clarity, but you always probably try to seek it. And a lot of the time, even if we got it there, it would be harder for us to realize that it actually isn't saving our feelings. Like I said, I've been on both sides of it where I've been ghosted. I was dating someone for a couple of months and I completely got ghosted, right? It was someone who, we'd both told each other that we loved each other. It was getting to be serious, and then ghosting completely gone. And I never knew why. I never got any closure, got anything. And that was something that was really, really, really difficult for me to get over. And I pulled myself out of dating for a while because I was just so hurt and in pain because of it. Now, again, I've been on the other side of it where I've ghosted people online where maybe like we were going to go on a date and maybe I was feeling insecure and I didn't want to do it, or I just wasn't feeling like this person was right for me. And instead of saying it, I just, ghosted them as well, blocked them, deleted them, or just stopped talking to them or replying to them. Now, like I said, I look back on that and go, I know where that came from. That came from my own insecurities there. The fear of saying something to them that I might hurt their feelings because I was a people pleaser, right? When in fact, I actually probably did more damage by not saying some of these things. So it's really important for us to realize that ghosting isn't actually helping someone, it's actually hindering someone, and it's actually truly hurtful to them in the first place, right? So really it's kind of important for us, like I said, when, we're getting out there and we're going into the dating world, that, you go in there with an open mind and an open heart. And if you want to go out there and you've really done the work on yourself and you're ready to meet someone, you might realize it's going to take a number of different dates to get to the right person, right? You might date someone for the first time. You might realize that they're not a good fit. The chemistry may be off. There's complete absence altogether. There's no feelings, etc. That might be disappointing on your side. Maybe they're feeling something on the other side. And you're trusting your intuition means that you obviously need to start by being honest and true to yourself. So whatever the case may be, if you're just not feeling it, you've got to figure out what are some of the things that you should be saying or you should be doing to really handle it effectively and correctly so that you give the right energy out. Because again, oftentimes if we can handle things correctly and we're attracting these kinds of people, we're likely to not be going through them ourselves. We're not going to be on the receiving end of it, right? So really, what's the first thing you should be able to do is, one, give it a lot of thought. Before you're making your decision, take some time to think about it. This is kind of obviously really more important if you are someone who has been in, unhealthy relationships in the past, and you're just starting to get out there again, right? You just want to start to investigate, is this something that you truly believe this person is not a fit for you, and why they're not a fit for you? Or could it be the fear maybe blocking you from a new adventure? Because we all know that fear shows up, and it comes up and shows us all these things in front of us, which may be just a mask to the reality of the fact that maybe we have the problem that we need to work through as well. So is it fear, right? Are you blocking yourself? Just remember that everyone is different, and some people do need more time than others to know what their decision is. So, you don't necessarily have to make a decision in the moment, but, don't plan to ghost someone and then never make the decision, right? That's not something that we're saying. Coming down to some ways of, maybe writing down what you're feeling, talk to your family, friends, even talk to a coach, right? Many of the clients that I speak to talk to me about the dates that they're on, the people that they've been in relationships with, the things that they're fearful about, the things that are causing them to have triggered emotions come up, right? So it's really important to get the clarity that you need so you can make the right decision for you, coming from a place of honesty instead of a place of like maybe fear, right? A place of triggering, because those things can happen, So if you've come and you fought things through, and maybe, you knew right off the bat that this wasn't the right person for you, but you've been seeing them, right? You don't know how to end it, right? You may be afraid of hurting their feelings. The idea of simply disappearing into thin air is probably tempting, right? And when we look at it, technically, ghosting is always a choice that you can make. But before you slowly back your way into the bushes, it's important to reacquaint yourself with what you're looking for, your goals. What do you want out of a relationship? Because a healthy relationship does require honesty. It requires kindness, and it requires taking responsibility for yourself and how you're showing up and how the relationship is working for you, right? Now, if you look at things, ghosting doesn't get you what you want. So before you let that, allure of avoidance dictate your actions, let's kind of break down what are those harmful side effects of ghosting. So when you decide to ghost someone, you are actually running away from any open or even communication in general. Now, as we know, healthy communication is an essential skill for any relationship to flourish. So remember that a healthy relationship is a partnership between, like I said, two people or more people, right? And anyone who is looking to be in one needs to be able to work through life's difficulties together. So if you're someone who is avoiding having some communication with someone else, it's probably a sign that there's still a part of you that needs to get to do some work. So if you're really open and ready to be in a relationship, avoiding problems, avoiding communication means that there's something within you that you're actually avoiding within yourself. So it would be a great signal for you to go, hey, what is this actually meaning in reality? Why am I afraid to say? Why am I afraid to open up and be honest? Why am I afraid to talk to this person and say how I feel, right? What's that got to do with? Has it got to do with something that happened in my childhood? Has it got to do with something that's happened in a previous relationship, right? There are so many things it could relate to. But if you're thinking about ghosting and you've decided to make the decision, you're actually running away from communication, which is something to be alarmed about and focused on as why you're afraid to open up and be honest and tell someone as well. Another thing is, if you think you're protecting, that other person's feelings, as we know, because probably some of us have been ghosted, you've got to think again. You're not the only person who's actually putting themselves out there by getting out there in the dating world. It's obviously really important for us to remember there's a whole other person involved in this. They've got their own feelings, they've got their own hopes, they've got their own dreams and desires about what they're looking for, right? And obviously, you're not going to be responsible for how they handle rejection. You're actually just responsible for being clear with them about how you feel. So avoidance does not show anyone else any kind of respect at all. And in fact, it may actually leave them feeling angry, feeling more hurt, or even feeling super, super confused. And holding them back from finding what they want, which is a relationship. And you could be something that's causing triggers and trauma for somebody else by being a ghosting. So you think that you might be protecting them. In reality, you're just trying to protect yourself. You're being selfish towards yourself, and in reality, you're causing pain, you're causing anger, you're causing confusion, and you might be causing someone to go through trauma because of what you've done. So you've got to think about that, right? Empathizing and showing kindness can help override your fear in this situation. So if you just literally come into your mindset of, I'm coming from a place of kindness and love in sharing this, right? And how I feel. And know that you've done your best in being able to do that as well. And the final thing that's probably going to be, not getting you what you want if you're ghosting is that it's going to be hindering your own growth. Because you're avoiding those uncomfortable conversations, you're dodging those opportunities for self-growth. You're, needing to learn how you can step up and communicate with honesty, respect, and kindness. And that's going to make you feel proud of yourself in the end. Remember that you get what you give. And if you want a healthy relationship, you also need to act in a healthy way as well. So think about that. If you want a healthy relationship, you also need to act in a healthy way. Ghosting is not healthy. Lack of communication is not healthy. Avoiding problems is not healthy. If you are showing those signs, the likelihood of that showing up in someone else that you'd be dating is probably going to happen to you as well. So think about that. If you're afraid of something, the likelihood of it showing up for you is quite high because you attract what you give, right? And then, like I said, if you want to give and receive good things, you have to learn to be able to handle, having those kinds of conversations as well. So the final thing, that we want to talk about here when it comes to, artfully, handling and healthily handling, ending a relationship instead of ghosting is how do you end things respectfully? I'm sure hopefully by this point in the conversation, you're at a place where if maybe you've thought about it or you've been doing it in the past, that maybe, you've made that brave decision not to ghost someone else. Maybe you've decided to go back to someone you've ghosted in the past and apologize and explain something honestly to them, right? Now, if you want to learn what you need to say on how to communicate so that you can move through this in such a simple way, start by keeping it simple, right? You may feel the need to go into every single detail or even blame it all on yourself. Remember, the goal here is just to be direct, honest, and honor your values and your decisions. So you don't need to go in and tell them that, you did this, and 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 this, or it's about how I feel and blame yourself and all those things. That's not the point. You want to be direct, honest, and honest. Say, it might be something as simple as, hey, it's been really nice getting to know you, John. I've valued the time that we've had together. I just don't see that on my end that there's a connection there. I'm looking for different things than you are. I just wish you the best there, So it's quite simple, quite direct, quite honest. Like, that's basic because I don't have, a specific example in front of me. So if you do have examples that you'd like some help with, then feel free to send me a message, Facebook or Instagram, whatever you find me on. Just message me and say, hey, look, this is a situation. Can you give me some advice? I'm happy to share that with you as well. So continuing this thing of how you can really end things respectfully is be assertive, direct, and kind. So we are all human. And we really deserve respect and kindness, especially if we want to receive respect and kindness, we need to give it, right? So there is no need to know all the reasons, why you made your decision and choice. You don't need to share everything, but simply know that sharing that you've made that choice is important as well. So be direct and wish them well. Something like I told you, I enjoyed meeting you the other night, but after giving it thought, I don't think we'll make a good fit. Best of luck, That's just kind, just to end things, right? It's a nice thing to do, and it's assertive, direct, and like I said, kind, which is what we want as well. Next key thing is rip off the Band-Aid, right? You may need some time to think about your decision, but be careful not to overanalyze here. If you've made your choice and you're really certain that this is your choice and it's bringing you peace and you feel good about it, just do it. Have the conversation as soon as possible so that you can both move forward, right? Again, we're in the 21st century, and if you've only met someone once, you don't necessarily need to give them a call to tell them exactly what it is. You can send them a nice message, right? Again, if you've met someone multiple times, it might be more respectful to have a call or to meet up in person and do these things. Again, that's breaking up 101, right? But if it's just a fresh thing, or you've met online, you met once, you don't need to go through the whole rigmarole. But so just really think about how can I do this quickly and kindly and get it done so that you can both move forward in the right direction, right? Again, another way is reach out for support if needed. If you're having an especially difficult time with this, reaching out to someone, like I said, a coach. I have so many of my clients do this. Reach out to a friend or a family member, right? Whoever you can trust that's going to be able to give you constructive feedback so that they can help you along and make this easier for you, right? Also, think about, what are some healthy distractions that you can do afterwards, right? Once the deed is done, it's healthy to have a distraction plan for right after. Maybe going out for a fun dinner with some friends, an uplifting movie, or just going for a nice walk with some music can help soothe you, because, it might be feeling hard that I'm having to say this thing, right? We're not born to say things that might make someone feel upset. And I understand that. So know that if you plan something to do afterwards, which is going to lift your spirits, be proud of the fact that you did the right thing. That's the thing, right? That's the final thing. Be proud of yourself, that you've done the right thing and that you've handled it healthily and ended something healthily, and you've not ghosted someone and left them feeling, worse off because of it. So those are some of the key things that I would suggest that you do. Again, so many of us out there, over 60% of us have admitted to being ghosted at some time in their life. And again, we all know the pain of it if we've been through it as well. So if you're someone who's done it had done it to someone else or had it done to you, I trust that this has been a valuable podcast for you to listen to. And I'd love to get your feedback. Again, if you've got some questions, got some examples you want to share with me and get some advice, reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, and let's continue the conversation there. All right, guys, I'm going to be back next week with another episode. But until then, always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now.